when you saw everything come down versus now that you've had a night to sleep on it, what do you make of the deal?
I think the deal is really about that percentage, 65%. I mean, if he doesn't play 65% for the plus snaps for the Jets, it's a disastrous deal for them. And so the Jets are going to give up a number one pick for him. And I think it's a deal that they're going all in. There's clearly going all in because 65% threshold, we saw that with Carson Wentz at 75%. And the Colts ended up playing him. So for me, that's getting that at 65% is really good for the Packers. It's an outstanding deal for the Packers because they know they're going to get a one. Because if he doesn't play 65%, it's because he got hurt. And that means the Jets probably aren't going to be very good. And that's going to be a really hard deal. And if he gets hurt, will he come back next year? So I think the Packers made out. Now, look, I don't know how good the Packers will be moving forward with Jordan Love. But for right now, I thought that was a really good deal for them.
Michael, when you look at the deal, too, a great deal for the Packers from a conditional standpoint. I agree with what you just said there. I'm curious about your thoughts, though, too, because the Packers have to believe that the jury's still out on Jordan Love. I mean, I know what Gutekunst said, but then you have the 2024 draft that could be in their sights, too. So with the ammunition that the Packers have, and if Jordan Love is a flop, I mean, does that put the Packers right there in that wheelhouse to look at some outstanding quarterback prospects in 2024?
Yeah, I'd be surprised if that's not, something they have to think about, right? I mean, look, there's no telling it. I don't think they really know about Jordan Love. I think they like to think he's going to be a good player, but the limited exposure that they've had in live games, in preseason games, hasn't been great. And so, look, this is going to put a lot of the burden on Matt LaFleur. I mean, this is going to be a really hard challenge. And we know Rodgers turned the ball over 12 times on interceptions last year, but that was one of the worst years he's had in a long time. Can they protect the ball with Jordan Love? Is this defense going to be good enough? This opens up a lot of questions in Green Bay. They're a young team now. Remember, last year Rodgers was the senior, and they had Randall Cobb and all that, but now all these young receivers are going to be playing with a young quarterback. That typically spells turnovers.
The Packers now a 50-1 shot to win next year's Super Bowl. The Jets, meanwhile, better certainly got ahead of this number when in early March the rumors started coming down that Aaron might be going to the Jets. They are a 14-1 shot to win the Super Bowl. The shortest odds we've seen on the Jets since 2011. They haven't played in a Super Bowl since 1969. It has been a hot minute. How much does Aaron Rodgers really improve the Jets and their opportunity to compete in the AFC?
Well, I think it gives them a great opportunity. Look, one of the things that you have to understand, their defense is built to rush the passer. Can they get production out of Carl Lawson? They still got to sign Quentin Williams. I mean, they have an undertaking, right? So it's interesting. As much as this deal was going to happen, the Jets had done nothing as of yesterday to prepare for it to happen. The Jets are going to have to create some cap room. Now, they can do it easily. They can guarantee C.J. Mosley $17 million. They could guarantee Carl Lawson. I mean, they've got $9 million sitting out there on salary on Dwayne Brown. I'm not sure why. Could they trade? Could they get rid of Corey Davis? He's at $10.5 million. So they're going to have to get some cap relief to set this up, right? And to then fit Rodgers' contract in there. And then they're going to have to re-sign Quentin Williams. This defense is good enough, but they're going to need Quentin Williams under contract for a long term. So, look, he's a great quarterback. And he's going to make them better. And they kept the 15th pick overall in the draft. They should be able to get an offensive tackle out of that player or a defensive lineman. So I think they're in prime position. But let's face it, this is a very small window for the Jets. Once Rodgers leaves, we're back to the Zach Wilson era. And I don't think that's going to work well.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.